Hi everybody, I'm Natasha of Natasha Miller Letters, and I'm lucky enough to be sharing this blog post and video tutorial with you today. I'm really excited to show you how we can put this together to create some fun visual paper piecing piece. So we're using the animal line drawing book for inspiration. We're going to be drawing the butterfly. I have some sketchbook paper here that I will be using, and then we will sketch out our butterfly and I will share the next steps with you. You can make your butterfly as big or as small as you want. I suggest starting off with a bigger piece just until you get a feel for the tutorial and what we're creating and what we're doing, just because it can get kind of tough working with the little pieces of paper. Once you have a rough sketch of your butterfly, you are going to grab your tracing paper. Again, this is just a super rough sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be on the page. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our tracing paper to take out different elements of our butterfly. So for example, I'm going to trace the complete outline of the butterfly. And this will be our base piece. And you want to try and stay as true to your lines as possible. Then I'm going to trace an outline of the body, because we'll want that as a separate piece. Okay, then I think I'm going to want the inner wings as a separate element. And then I'm going to trace the inner parts of the wings as well. And just to make it easier, I am going to label these. So left top, and I'm labeling this right top. So I think I'm happy with all of those elements, and so now we are going to cut this out. And then to prevent losing the smaller pieces that we're about to cut, I actually just take some removable glue and I put some down as I go, and then I can stick the pieces down so that I don't misplace them or lose them, or my cat won't jump up on my desk and try and eat them. Now you can also glue the rest of your pieces down, which we will eventually do, but for now I'm just trying to keep these little pieces at bay. So once you are happy with your cutouts and your patterns, so that's basically what we've done. Just like you would cut out a pattern for a piece of fabric to sew, we're going to take this as a pattern, we're going to stick it on our paper, and we're going to glue it instead of sewing it. So we're going to decide what we want it to look like. So we're going to use this as our background. The paper set that I bought had a whole bunch of these, but to keep it consistent with what we've already made, I'm going to stick it, I'm going to use Escape the Ordinary. And then we'll be using these papers to put the rest of the butterfly together. Okay, so I'm going to take the main body of our butterfly. We're going to add some removable adhesive. And we're going to stick this down and cut out around it. Okay, and then because we want to create the wings like this, we're actually going to cut a second body, and I'll show you what we're going to do with it. So I'm going to make it dotty. Since you don't really see it, you can make it. So I'm going to make it dotty like this. And we already have the removable adhesive on it from before, which makes it a lot easier. Okay, so what we're going to do right away, we're going to glue these two parts down. We're taking our regular adhesive, I'm just using a tape runner, and we're going to add glue just to the center of the butterfly. And we'll line up the butterfly bodies that we cut and glue them together. And then we'll just fold the wings, the top set of wings up like this, and that's going to give your butterfly a little bit more of that dimension. Okay, and now we can start getting the rest of the pieces together. Next up, we are going to be doing the backs of the veins, or the veined areas of the butterflies, and I'm actually going to use two separate paper colors for the tops versus the bottoms, just to make it more interesting and more fun. So again, we're just going to apply our removable adhesive. We're going to place our patterns down. Make sure you're using the right glue, and that is for this part the removable adhesive and not the actual glue, so you're not gluing your pattern pieces down to your paper. If you do, you just grab some more tracing paper, you retrace the piece that you need to redo and stick it on some paper. So if you do make a mistake, it's not a big deal at all. So when I'm placing my tracing pieces down, I like to look for interesting bits of the paper. You can make it the paper, you can pick paper that's as busy as you want, or you can just pick a few two or three colors that you can use to put together your butterfly. I like to be a little bit extra sometimes, which is why I'm going for the bright colorful paper, but you can also use plain colored paper if you use a green or different kinds of greens to build your butterfly, or different kinds of blues. This is just my preference. So to give it a little bit more fun again, we're actually going to use foam adhesive. I actually get this from the hardware store. Now, it's just simple. You can get them from the craft store as well. This is just what I had, so this is what I'm using. And I just cut it down to size. The reason why I like to stick it down is just so that I don't misplace it. I have definitely misplaced pieces in the past, and that can be really frustrating. And now we're going to put together the pieces of the inner portion of the butterfly. And so for the top, I'm going to use the leftover piece from this one, and for the bottom, I'm going to use the leftover piece for this one. So when I'm gluing the smaller pieces on, I like to keep the labeled pattern pieces on so that I know what's being glued down where. So we're just going to take our permanent adhesive and just put some glue down and start placing the pieces where they need to go. And then what you can do is you just rub off the removable adhesive. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Okay, and then you're going to do the same with the bottom portion of the butterfly. So these little pieces that we cut out, you could have also kept them as one big piece and then cut out the individual portions as you were gluing as you were cutting the final piece out. But the reason why I like to do it this way is that you're able to glue these down wherever you want, creating more fun patterns, or at least a little bit of a break in, I don't want to say a monotonous pattern, but it definitely creates more of a visual interest if you just separate the pieces a little bit instead of just cutting it to size on the sheet of paper. Okay, and now we can glue these pieces onto the butterfly as well. And then we're going to take the body of this guy. I think I'm going to keep this one color, we'll make it blue. And this is our final piece that we are cutting out. So for this one, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to take our double-sided tape again. And we're actually going to cut 2 narrow pieces. And we're going to double them up. By doing so, it's going to let the body sit on top of everything that we've got going on. I'm going to line that up and stick that down. And now, as an option, you can take a paint pen and go in and fill out the lines, or you can leave it as is. I personally like that little bit of definition, so I'm going to go in with a black paint pen and add in a little bit more of that definition in the veins, in the wings. So then we're going to start gluing our pieces together. I've glued this down. We're going to put some glue on the back of our butterfly, and we are going to stick it down in place. Fluff her up a little bit, push down the pieces there, and there you have your Escape the Ordinary butterfly paper piecing piece that you can either use to display or, like I said, as a card that you can give to somebody. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and again, make sure to check out the blog post for more information on the supplies and the step-by-step instructions.